Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's December 3rd, 2025. And boy, do I have information for you today. If you don't know me, I'm Mal. I channel messages, I read energy, I remote view, and do all sorts of things. If you're interested in a personal reading or energy work, please feel free to check out my link tree for more information. And remember, I will never reach out to you first. Now, that said, today is going to be a different type of video and information style. Similar to the one that I did recently when I came on and talked about the system. Little backstory, okay? More recently, I have become very much unsettled and curious. Not unsettled in a bad way, but kind of just whenever this happens within me, I know that I'm on the verge of discovering something more, something that I've been missing, something that I need to keep pushing forward and towards so that I can understand more. And if you, all of us are on this journey, you may resonate with this, is that when we feel that way, it is kind of like our consciousness is rising. It is allowing us or, asking us to understand more. And this is kind of what's happening. And the more recently, this feeling that I've been receiving or that has been driving me was as to existence itself, existence and creation of life and just other things. And I think maybe this is why they came up with the life forms the other day. I don't know. I didn't ask for that information, but I think maybe I'm just noticing that we're ready to explore this part in our existence further. We're at that level now. Now, that said, I also want to say before I begin with the subject that I want to talk about today is that when we receive information, new information that contradicts or possibly changes what we previously have believed, that's okay. Okay, again, we are being given information or we receive and are integrating information at any given time that we're ready for. Okay, so that doesn't make the previous information wrong. It just means that that is all we were capable of understanding, and we needed to understand or know the information in that way so as to get us to this point that we are at now. I hope that makes sense. Now, that said, what I want to talk about today is the creation of souls and just creation in general. Here's the thing. It was my understanding for the longest time that all souls were created at once. I don't know, Big Bang Theory, whatever you want to call it, creation of the universe, everything, maybe that. It was my understanding that the source, or I'm going to call it the all, okay, I like that term, and it has been used in that regard. The all has created them all at once. Now, today, this morning, I was made aware that that's not the case. Now, you may ask yourself, well, wait, what? So here's the thing. Apparently, the first thing that I was told was that creation is a process. So the all, from which is everything springs, okay, the source, initially created only a certain amount of souls. And they call these souls originals. That, not my term, it's what I was told. Okay. And these, when I tried to dig further and ask, well, who were these souls? Okay, because I wanted to kind of get a better understanding where they are now. What are they? Are they galactic? What are they? Right? My human wants a better understanding, and I'm sure you do too. I was told that the closest we can associate these souls with in modern terms is the angelic realm. Okay, that is the closest association. And I say association because I'll get into in just a moment why I can't say angelics in general. Now, here's back to the creation story. So there were these souls that were created by the all, and the souls were created with the express purpose to continue the creation process in other spaces and time, on behalf or in connection with source or the all. So basically the originals were co-creating universes and other things. And this is the part that is going to make some of you step back and be like, whoa. The originals initially also created souls in connection or as in co-creation with source or the all. Now that took me for a loop, okay? Because that's another thing. I always thought that only the all or source can create souls. But apparently the originals were part of this. Now, here's the thing. Also another thing about souls. Apparently, the soul creation process continues to this day. And so new souls are created all the time. Now, this is something that I didn't expect either. I thought souls were created and souls are then living their lives everywhere, but no, the soul creation process continues to this day, and it is done by the all. So I'm not getting, when I say they, is my spirit team and the information that was coming in wasn't giving me an indication that the originals are still partaking in the creation. No, as a matter of fact, it's a no. They do not. It is all souls are being created by the all souls now. So, hence maybe the idea, of course, an old soul, an ancient soul, or a new soul. I know that in some circles, these terms have been used, not just for human reasons, but for literally souls that have been created new and may be experiencing life and existence fairly new in any space and time. Now, here's the thing. Creation process begins with the all and the originals. And then the originals created other things. They created spaces. They created actually souls. They created thought forms. And these spaces and souls and thought forms then continued to create more themselves. So you see, the creation process continues, and we still do today. Like, we are part of this, and we have been, we are creating ourselves, we create just like they did back then. I don't even know what back then means, but you know what I mean. I don't think these human words are even adequate or accurate speaking in such terms. Now, why is this important? Well, it is important to know that for various reasons. And one thing that is I'm being made aware of right now, and they want me to say this, meaning my team, is that from a higher perspective, any creation, regardless of where it came from or how it came to be into existence, is no less valuable or has no less purpose than any other creation. So, in other words, the high realms do not look at creations differently just because of how they were created. It doesn't matter how the creation came to be. It's all equal, in other words. Okay, that's what that means. Now, I'm going to say something very controversial here right now, and it's going to take some people aback, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. When I said about the originals, Archangel Michael, for instance, is not an original, okay? Now, what does that mean? It means that Archangel Michael wasn't his form as Archangel Michael, created by the all originally. Archangel Michael came to be later on. Now, does that make him any more powerful or purposeful or important to our expansion, to our lives, and to what it is that we know him to be? No. And I want to make this perfectly clear here, because some of you will maybe look at him differently now, but that is not how it is to be looked at. This is why I said it doesn't matter how a creation comes to be, okay? The meaning, a creation, is what you give it. Everything is nothing until it is given meaning. I want to put that out there, okay? This is a very important part of creation and understanding creation at its core. I also want to point out is that the originals and the all, everything that was created by the all and the originals was all of the light. So even those beings that some of us are looking at now as being more darker, that was not initially the case when they were initially created. They were all connected at one point. They were all of the light. But throughout the continued creation process and the evolutionary process that was left up to these individuals, these creations, some things just went, whichever way. So what does that mean? It means that everything, when you hear somebody say, well, Michael or Metatron is a creation, is not, who you think they are. That is true to a certain extent, because they were created through a creation that we may not fully understand, okay? And that goes for other things too. That isn't just Michael or Metatron. This goes for all archangels. This goes for other beings that we look at. That goes for beings that some of us have come to worship, okay? Everything was created at one point or another, either by the all, by the originals, or through evolutionary creation process. It doesn't make it any less valuable. It doesn't make it any less important. It doesn't make it any less significant. And this, my dear friends, is like, okay, for me, I knew some of the pieces here. This is not all new information for me, but the main thing is I thought that all souls were created at one point. Like, that is what I thought, and that's not the case. And then, of course, the fact that, the other thought forms like Michael and so on were created after, and that's okay. I work with Michael. It doesn't change how I see Michael. As a matter of fact, he's a steady, pillar in my existence here, because the purpose for which I know him to be here in my existence, he is there in that capacity. You see what I mean? It is important that we don't allow other people's experiences or understanding of what it is that they have tapped into to change what it is that we truly believe within ourselves. This is why there is no absolute truth here. You see what I mean? Everything is what you give it meaning. What meaning do you give it? And that's what it becomes. This is why so many figures are inverted, okay? That the dark side, if you so will, inverts certain meanings. It's not that it makes that whatever they're inverting bad. It's just that the meaning they give it in their reality is different than what it is in yours. And I hope that makes sense. I really want to point that out to you all. is that there is no thing, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And of course, the fact that creation at its core is a little different than what we thought it is. So anyway, listen, this is definitely something that is not going to sit well with some of you. Some of you are not going to accept this, and that's okay. I'm here to get your creative juices flowing, to, challenge your understanding in the way that I'm being challenged. And I just want to point out that the information that I receive does not come from any kind of outside source. So I don't go looking at other creators and pulling, or research and pulling that into my own existence or being. None of it. I haven't even actually Googled if there's anybody who's thinking this way. I have no idea. I might be doing that now, but I don't do that. This is all coming from my sources, from my higher self, into my being, into my understanding. And there are certain parts of me that recognize some things at deep truth. And part of it is because, again, I wasn't able to understand, I wouldn't have been able to fully grasp or understand this part of our existence before. Like, if you would have told me this a couple years ago, I probably would have dismissed it, is what I'm trying to say. So, if you can't wrap your head around it, it's okay. Just put it aside, and let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Have you thought about something like this? Have you gotten something like this? Have you seen others talk about this? I would love to hear your comments, or hear your thoughts on this, and read your comments. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more. Bye.